Welcome everybody, you're watching Mr. Fugu Data Science. Feel free to reach out in the comment section below if you have any topics you would like me to cover in future videos. Today's motivation stems from weird output while setting up a MacBook Pro recently. The terminal showed in the prompting my username followed by the IP address. I wasn't exactly sure why, but I did remember that I could change how the interface looks. It's just been a long time. Today I wanted to go over a few commands and get an idea of what's going on. For those with any specific domain knowledge or expertise, leave comments down below to help others. Now let's get started. If you notice, my current terminal looks a little different from what I was just mentioning. I'm going to attach a screenshot right here so you can get a gist of it. I want us to run through a couple quick commands before we get started. We can do PS minus P $. This shows us that we're currently in the Zee Shell. We can also run a cat command where we're going into the _etc file and find all the shells that are available on our system. Here's what we currently have. The naming convention for the prompt that you see, for instance, I changed mine to a date format with my name, Mr. Fugu. And you could think of this more like a decorator that you can customize. It's not affecting the system level attributes such as running scutl commands, which I'll show in a separate video. One of the things I would like to show you is that if we run the ls/users, we're going to see that this is shared with this username. You can also ask who am I to get the same thing. I could run Command L to clean this up so we can tidy up our display. And the variable that we're looking for that stores this information, where currently I have my username, a literal @ symbol, a weird date time formatting, and then this tilde representing our home directory. The variable we want is called the PS1 variable, and this is the current formatting that I set up custom for my device. This is synonymous with if you ran the same thing but said prompt, so echo PS1 with a $, or the same thing with a prompt, the same. So don't get confused later. But where is this PS1 variable stored? Well, we have two options of finding this. The first, we can go inside of the folder using whatever editor you want. I'm just going to use basic Vim, and it's in a private folder within the _etc, and it's called zshrc. And if we open this up, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. We scroll to the bottom of this file, and here's the formatting. This is the global file. And you're going to say, well, I just saw a different formatting for the PS1 variable. What's going on there? I changed the local formatting with a separate file. When you change this file, let's copy this real quick because I'm going to break this down. This is the original file formatting I had for my device because it was taking a username, a host name, and the directory formatting. If I updated prompting here, what would have happened is any users, if they decided to use my device at a future date, would be sharing the naming convention that I set system-wide with this global file. Instead, what I'm going to do is quit out of here, and we can use a local file we'll create. If you wanted to also find this file a separate way, you can go cd, we can do private, and then etc, and from there we can list all the files that have a zs within it, and this is the file that we were just looking at, this one right here, the global file. Let's get back out of this. Let's clean this up a little bit, and we're going to look at creating the local file. You'd use this command of touch. We'd have a tilde/dot because this is a hidden file, zshrc. All right, but I already have this file, so let's look at it. And if you notice, mine's not empty. For instance, I already have Conda, and if I had Homebrew installed, it would show up in here as well. And right here is a new formatting for the local file that I created. And in here, I created underlining, which is this. I created the color, which is this F with the color I chose. You can also use the 3-digit color codes. And then I put my name and my goofy little date. And this is supposed to show that parent and current directory. I'm not sure why it's not placing that in there. And what you would do is just paste in the information that you want for this PS1 variable. You can also, if you don't want to call it PS1, prompt string 1, you could also just put prompt here since it was the same thing that we saw below. And you could just change this to whatever you want. We'll go through that in a second. So let me step out. Let me paste in real quick this. Originally, when I set up this device, it was taking the actual username for my device, which is this right here, this %n. The user device for the device itself is a separate parameter, which is controlled by your admin settings from when I set this up. And I didn't want that posting. The host name was taking my IP address from something called the reverse DNS search. We'll go into that in a second. Remember what I said before in the beginning. You could change this prompt here to whatever you want it to, because it's basically a decorator. It's not affecting your machine like scutl functions. I want to clarify that one more time. So let's go inside this and let's start playing around. Before we move on, I want to mention something. This prompt name is persistent, meaning that when I close this prompt, it will stay the same. Now, if you did something like this and you did an export command and then you just paste it in, let's do this real quick and let's remove the date format and let's just put something random. Let's do the working directory. It updated and we're at our home directory and it got rid of this date. But if I open a new shell real quick, you can see it goes back to the original formatting. It's not persistent. When you run this, it just changes it for the current session. And each shell has something similar for the PS1 variable if you're doing formatting like bash or something like that. So let's go into the file and let's do some changes real quick. Let's scroll to the bottom. Let's figure out what we want to do. You can set this up however you want. Let's do I for insert, 1, parent directory. You can get rid of the date. We have other options. You could do times, you could do other date formatting. Instead of underlining, you can do a full bold text for a bold color. I think it's B, I don't know. Let's find out. We'll leave that and let's change this. Let's change the coloring. I don't know, let's make it red. Let me escape out, :WQ, bangity bang bang, save it real quick. Now, how do we get it to change? We're going to do source. And then I'll read it in and you see that we just changed it, but there's a mistake because we have the %f. So let's fix this formatting a little bit since this is off. Let's go to insert, scroll to the bottom. So instead of doing a bold text, I meant to make a block of text. Let's fix that. All right. So this should do a block of text. This is reading. Maybe this is where I want it. Let's find out. I'm learning as I go. Yep. Perfect. So Command L, clean that up a little bit. So now I got this red like I wanted it for our directory. Just showing the day of the week, what day of the month. You can change this however you want. You can get rid of this @ symbol also. If you ever want to change it, remember this was the formatting you had originally. I'll put again on the screen how it looked for mine, but it was basically showing my device name, @ symbol, and my IP address, which is super annoying. I wanted to show a couple other things real quick for brevity. There's another variable you can use. It's going to be called an rprompt, which is a little bit different. You can Google it. To further customize this, we can click on the terminal in the upper left, which you can't see now because it's hidden. Go into settings and I'll open this up and I'll magnify this a little bit in editing in post. You'll look at the profiles right here. You go into the window. You could change this. Also, in the prompting section, you'll have in the terminal 3 or 4 different things that you can fix. Let's transition into this new part. For some of you, for your system, let me zoom in real quick. This is the type of formatting that I had, which was a username. It was @ it had a C, a dash, and then my IP address. Some of you may have it say MacBook, Mac Mini, or something like that instead. And if you change your configurations, you may have something that looks like this. This is what you may see for your default. It is with something that I mentioned before about your reverse DNS, your domain server. Just look at a thread to get an idea of what's going on. So this person had the same issue as me. This was 3 years ago. They opened up their terminal for the first time and noticed the username @ followed by whatever their IP address was. But they were accustomed to seeing it like this, where they had some username @ and then their MacBook Pro or whatever. And for some reason that wasn't showing up and they were quite confused, like I was myself. And people will say, well, just change the PS1 variable and consider changing some of the scutl commands, which I'll go in another video, but that's changing system names in your device. This is more like a decorator function, changing the prompting for visual cues. The other names you could change will affect like sharing, sharing names or other things along your network, which are different. Here's another thread with somebody having the same issue as me, and I'm going to open this up so it's bigger so I can read this for you. The default bash or Zee Shell prompt uses the host name, which is that H, depending on the H, or you'll see an M in your PS1 prompt, and it'll pull your IP address and do a reverse DNS lookup to get the name. The reverse DNS lookup code will return whatever the DNS server says is your system name. If the DNS server or servers does not have the name for your IP address, then it will return what is found in your system preferences sharing computer name. So when you move your location, you're getting a different DNS server name or server. If you're at home, this will go to your local network. Then you can use the 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐿 command to change your max DNS server. And here's a command that you can do. I'm not doing these commands. It's going to be in a separate video to let me explain a few things with that. But that'll be the end of this video. It's pretty short, but there's a lot of useful commands I attached. If you go on my GitHub, there's some links where it's more extensive for the commands, and you can go through it at your own leisure to customize it as you wish. That'll be the end of this video. The next video, I like to go over some 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐿 commands as well as all of the names that are found within your Mac. There's about 6 or 7 different ones and they do different things. So that's what I'll do in the next video or two. And then after that, just a quick video for Anaconda installation. Pretty simple stuff, but it'll help people who are brand new. But feel free to leave a comment in the comments section. Hopefully you can consider leaving a like or subscribe to my channel. For those who would like to help support me, I have a Buy Me a Coffee as well as Patreon or separate super thanks. Shameless plug, gotta do it. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.